Why do you want to get feedback, and how does that relate to sales? Why am I talking about this? Because basically, sales, you've spent that time getting that customer. Okay, lots of people, once they've got a customer, I remember back in my sales days where I would get really, really peed off because we would get onto a formulary, so we would be a chosen product. So one of our products from our range would be used on that formulary as sort of first line, first preference, and the world and its wife from my company would turn up because they wanted a piece of that pie. They wanted to be able to say that they were involved in it. When the implementation started happening, so when you actually, you win something like that, you gain a customer. Actually, the sales process stops, and you've achieved that sale, and then from there it's all around actually doing what that person's paid for. And so the implementation is a huge part, and that's where you can really fall down, because particularly people who are really sales focused, you can be chasing that sale, you get that sale and you're like, job done. Whereas actually it's just job beginning. But within a sales conversation, you can tell if it's going well or not as to whether or not that person buys from you. Once that person is stuck with you, they're working with you, they're then in a position where they are they've normally got a contract, they've normally got an agreement, and you're having to work with them for a set amount of time or to achieve a certain thing. And so without actually asking, it can be, you can very easily start going along thinking everything's okay when it's not. It's really important to understand how, what that customer's experience is, and how you're ticking the boxes or how you're falling short. And why do you want to know that? You want to know that so you can make a change. So with my academy, we were on week 4 last week, and I put out a midway questionnaire. And the reason I did that was because if I wait till the end of the course, then I've got no way of making any changes. So if that person's saying I would like more contact, I'd like less contact, I'd like this, I'd like that, I can't do anything because it's done and dusted. And so all you can do then is go and you can change it for the next person. If you take temperature checks from your customers on a regular basis, then you're in a position where you can make tweaks, you can make changes, you can meet those needs. And what I've done with the academy is I've actually made it anonymous, because as a group, it's a group experience. It doesn't, it would be useful in some of the cases that if the person says who they are, so that I can talk to them about specific things on an individual basis. But on the whole, it's a group program. It's something they're going to experience as a group. I did it anonymously so that they could feel free to say what they want, so that I can get the most out of it. So it wasn't about who's happy, who's not. It was about what's the general consensus, so that I can make changes for the entire group. So, I've got that temperature check now. I can make tweaks where needed. In the main, I got, out of the responses that I've got so far, 75% of them have been exceeds expectations, and the rest have been meet, which is really nice. Because until you put those things out, you think, it does seem to be going well, but you just don't know. So getting that information back, and some of the things that people have suggested back of ways to improve, and you have to really push with the questions to get those improvements listed, because people, they want to be polite, even though it's anonymous. They want to be, unless they're really peeved with you, then they want to be polite, and they want to say about the positives. So, pushing them for actually where could we improve, are there any ways of improving, can be really helpful. So, get that feedback, because what that feedback means is that person's going to have a good experience. Even if the nature of your business is that they can't work with you again once that's done, it's done, you don't have any additional products to sell, then they're in a position where they can go away and they can recommend you to other people. So they've had that experience, they've had that outcome, and they would recommend it to people. If they didn't have a good time, if they, you didn't know they weren't having a good time to the end, there's nothing you can do to change that outcome. So getting in there, understanding where they're at, understanding if they're happy or not, and how you might be able to help them. It's optional. If this person wants you to do stuff that is way beyond your means, then having the conversation about managing their expectations, or where your job starts and theirs stops, your job stops and their job starts, is a good thing to be able to have to address that. But the key thing is you don't know what you don't know. So find out what you don't know, and then act upon it, because it can really help you. If those people can go away as advocates, they can pre-sell you for other people, and then you can be in a position where people are coming to you on recommendation, which is a lot easier to sell. And that's where the sales bit comes in, is, you know, people are going to recommend you. Recommendation is a strong element of social proof. It can encourage people to come much more pre-sold to the conversation, which makes your life easier when it comes to selling, which will increase your conversions, which makes that you'll be able to be more efficient with your time and conversations that you're having face to face or whatever over Zoom, is so that, you know, you're making the most of those times because your conversions are higher. So in short, find out what you don't know, find out how your customer's feeling, and do that on a regular basis so you can understand where your customer's at, and where you can help them. Okay guys, thanks for listening. Take care. Bye.